I the antagonist for not letting my sister come stay with me? My sister and I don't have the greatest relationship ever. I find my sister entitled, spoiled, and selfish, and she finds me selfish and unforgiving. We always had a very tense relationship. Our parents started it by babying her as the youngest and treating us very differently while also expecting us to be best friends forever and to do everything and share everything. My sister has no regard for me at all. A few times when we were teens, the heating went in our parents' house and I was lucky to have the warmer room outside my parents'. My sister expected me to swap rooms with her so she could be warm and I would sleep in the cold. When I told her she could sleep in my room with me if she wanted to, she told me I should give her my bed and go to hers. Another time I was sick with the flu and home from school for 2 weeks. My parents were at a wedding one Saturday and told her to get me to drive her to her friend's house for a concert they were attending. I told her I couldn't bring her because, you know, sick as heck on the couch and barely able to keep my eyes open. She pestered me for the best part of 2 hours and yelled at me for messing with her life and said I was so selfish for not making her plans a priority. There was other pettier stuff from our childhood, like how angry she'd get that she couldn't steal my makeup since mine didn't work for her skin, or how she'd be mad when I bought a lock for my closet so she couldn't take my clothes without asking me. When I moved out and into my own apartment for college with 2 friends, and my family came to visit, my sister decided she was inviting herself for an extended stay and wanted me to sleep in one of my friends' rooms, or something, since she decided she could stay. I refused to let her stay and she told me I was being harsh. I told her she could say goodbye to ever staying with me. My parents told me I could have let her stay. I told them they could also leave, and I firmly encouraged that. My sister went to college in a different state, was in a dorm for her freshman year, but now she's a sophomore, and was living with some people she met in her college, but they wanted her out and refused to let her stay there anymore. My sister didn't take it seriously until she was forced to leave, and with her last few dollars, she decided to take a bus and show up at my apartment, saying she was staying with me for a while because she was homeless and I needed to give her my room. She actually used the words "you can take the couch" for a few weeks. I refused to let her come in and I refused to let her stay. She freaked out about having no more money and nowhere else to go. I told her it wasn't my problem. She cursed me out over direct messages and told me I was the worst sister and I'm so selfish for turning her away again. She also accused me of being unforgiving if this is about the last time I wanted to stay. My parents also started, so I blocked them. Am I the asshole? Sounds like your entitled and toxic sister has burned all her bridges with her entitlement. Not even her college roommates can stand living with her. If it matters that much to your parents, they should let her live with them since they raised her to behave this way. I bet their parents didn't want her back in their house either, which is why she showed up at your apartment instead. Did she drop out of college too? A tiger never changes her stripes personified. Am I the antagonist for asking my mom to pay part of the vet bill after losing my cat? So one of my cats, Howie, had just recently been directed by a vet to have thyroid medicine applied twice a day. I also have another cat, Sam. I was going away for the weekend, so I asked my mom to watch over them both. Normally they are fine for the weekend if I leave a lot of food and water, but now Howie needs his medicine twice a day, so I chose to leave both of the cats with my mom, who lives about 30 minutes away. My mom found Sam as a stray kitten about 5 years ago, and she watched him for about 9 months before moving. She did not want to pay pet deposit at new place, so I took him in. This was around 5 years ago. So I have had Sam for past 5 years and Howie for around 8. I had dropped the cats off to my mom's before many times if I was leaving for an extended period of time. Mainly because I know my mom loves my cats and would always ask when they could stay with grandma, and because it was nice having someone to watch over them. Sam is a very skittish cat and does not like being out in cages or carriers, nor being held. He isn't aggressive, just easily frightened. My mom knows this. Now usually when I pick up the cats, I come to her house and help her get them in their crates. However, this time, my mom decided to do it on her own. For whatever reason, she decided to pick up Sam and try and take him to her car without using carrier. While doing this, he escaped and ran off. My mom did not let me know until I was flying home the next day. I take off work the next day and look for him all day, followed by repeatedly driving 30 minutes to my mom's house either before or after work the next few weeks. I put flyers up as well. I have a wife who was very close with Sam, and she was distraught. After about a month, we had pretty much given up. A week or so ago, we get a text from a neighbor of my mom saying she thinks she saw Sam. After we and my wife went there to try and capture him, we had no luck. She was eventually able to catch him and get him back to us, 4 months after he escaped. I then took him to the vet to make sure everything was good, and he was good to get introduced back to Howie, which cost $300. I also wanted to get the neighbor a nice $100 gift card for helping out. I asked my mom to split these costs with me. I was insulted I even had to ask, since she is the sole reason he escaped. I had told her numerous times to get him in carrier before going outside because he is squirmy, but she did not listen. She then became very aggressive and brought up the fact how she still pays my phone bill even though I work. This is true. She said she would pay it until I got out of college, which was about 18 months ago. I have no problem paying my half of the phone bill, $35. She just never really brought it up before. I also feel like these scenarios are completely unrelated. I also pay $150 for Amazon Prime that we share. Am I the asshole for asking her to help lay vet bills directly related to her losing my cat? Your mom should have listened to you about using the cat carrier, and her actions resulted in your cat running away. You were right to mention using the carriers and splitting costs, but you also failed to pay your phone bill for 18 months. It seems like there's fault on both sides here, so it's best to address the issues, pay what's owed, and move forward. Am I the antagonist for telling my bio relatives to stop acting like we're family on social media? I am a 20-year-old female, and I am the youngest of 3. Our biological parents were together, but my biological mother's side hated my biological father. My bio mother ended up pregnant at 18, and she knew her family would dislike it, and maybe not support her because of my biological father. She also knew her friends wouldn't support her. So she turned to my dad, who had a crush on her for so long. They slept together, and she passed my sister off as his. My dad was a solid guy, and my biological mother knew that. She married Dad and passed my sister off as his, and carried on seeing my biological father behind everyone's backs. She had my brother, and then me with my biological father, and Dad raised us all believing we were his biological kids. Dad was our only real parent from day one. Our biological mother was never really there for us, and even when she was present, we always felt like she didn't want us there. I was 7 when the truth came out. It devastated Dad, but also my siblings and me. Our biological mother decided she wanted us to live with her and my biological father. My dad was legally our dad though, and they were married, so things got messy. Our biological parents wanted our dad to pay child support and pay medical and educational stuff, but never see us. So Dad continues paying, and my biological father gets the credit of being dad. When he realized he would be on the hook for this stuff, he ran away screaming, kind of literally. He and my biological mother stayed together, but he wanted no part of actual responsibility for us. My biological mother ended up giving up the fight and gave us to Dad and dipped from our lives forever. Dad got us therapy. He tried to facilitate relationships with our 2 biological families, but both wanted to take us from him, and they would constantly try undermining him to us. It made us angry, especially coming from my biological father's side, because they acted like their son did something other than get our mom knocked up 3 times. They would say we had a real father somewhere, or that as our blood family we should be with them and not some random guy. So Dad moved us so we could have a fresh start away from all the difficulties and painful memories. Several months ago, a paternal biological cousin tracked us down and said the biological family wanted us to return to them and they wanted a relationship. We all explained we had not forgotten the past, and so we were not interested. A couple of months later, my brother got another message and they wanted us to come to our biological grandparents' anniversary party, and our answer was no. After Christmas, we found out they were posting on their social media accounts that they missed us, how close we used to be, saying families should not be separated like this and laying the blame on Dad. They even photoshopped some photos to make it look like my biological father was present when they saw us post-reveal. I got so angry that I commented on their posts to stop pretending we're family, and they tried to undermine my dad, who is the one parent we had, and should be ashamed of themselves. They came for me for dragging them on social media. Am I the asshole? Your parents raised you, not some bioflakes. It's your choice who you want in your life, not just by blood. Some people love drama and spreading lies, but if they didn't want to be dragged on social media, maybe they shouldn't have posted those photoshopped images. Ignore the messy drama lovers and keep your supportive dad close. Am I the antagonist for telling my dad's lies their daughter will never deserve to be my mother, and that's why she hasn't adopted me? I was 15 years old and was adopted once already. My biological mother did not want to be a parent, and she walked out when I was born. My dad met my mom when I was still a baby, and she adopted me when I was 2, a few months after they got married. She was the best mom ever, and I miss her every single day. She died when I was just 6, and losing her really messed me up. I still struggle sometimes with not having my mom. My dad isn't the most emotional or warm guy, which meant I lost the parent who knew how to comfort me. Luckily, my grandparents, who were like my mom, were that comfort for me. It wrecked me more when my dad started dating less than a year after my mom died and remarried before my mom had been gone 2 years. I hate my dad's wife. She assumes that because my mom wasn't biologically my mother, and because she died when I was just 6, it meant she could be replaced easier than any other parent. Her attitude toward my mom has been crappy from day one. She even said my mom told me I was adopted when she could have passed me off as her own since I was so young. And the fact she didn't meant she wasn't really my mom. She was just playing a role. My dad is just too cold to give a care, I think. I think he likes having someone else around to raise his kid, and now he has 3 kids, 2 with his wife, and he wants whatever his wife does to keep her happy. So he looked into another adoption of me. But they were told, given my age at the time, no adoption would happen if I wasn't okay with it. They tried to find out if they could pay more to have it happen, but were told they would pay and then get rejected. And I will never say yes. I would rather be in foster care than be adopted by her. We fight a lot. We don't get along. But she tries to claim me as hers, and it bothers her to be rejected by someone who never even knew his real mother. I always point out I do have a real mom. She died when I was 6, and Dad's wife will never be as good as her or worthy of filling in for her. It's tense. It's toxic, and I know my only escape is when I can force my dad to let me stay with my grandparents for a few hours of a night or two, which isn't often. His wife hates that I still have them in my life, so he refuses often for her. My dad's in-laws are staying with us for a few weeks, visiting their grandkids. And Sunday we had dinner together, unfortunately, and they asked when she was finally going to adopt me, because it was crazy that she had kids with my dad but hadn't adopted me when I'm motherless. I told them I'm not. My mom died, but she's still my mom. They said it wasn't right and that their daughter has been my mom longer and she deserves to have it be official. I told them she's never been my mom and will never deserve to be my mom, which is why I will never let the adoption happen. The whole day went to rubbish and I was sent to my room, and then on Monday I was told to apologize, and when I didn't, it was stated by all 4 adults that I was an ungrateful brat. Am I the asshole here? It's absolutely ridiculous that this woman tried to invalidate your relationship with your mom based on the fact that she told you that you were adopted. It's actually recommended to tell children they're adopted from a young age, and your parents were doing the right thing. It's also worth exploring the possibility of living with your grandparents if your father agrees, or taking legal action if living with him is detrimental to your health. Sorry you have so many crappy adults in your life. Would I be the antagonist if I helped my parents financially but made it conditional, or set a limit on it and said no more? My parents are in their mid-60s, live in another state, and we see them once a year. They have never done well with finances and do not accept advice, and had 2 bankruptcies. They pay down credit cards but still use them and have no savings. My dad has pulled all the money from his 401k to use on home repairs or other items. My stepmom has only ever worked jobs like cleaning or as a healthcare assistant at nursing homes. She took Social Security immediately and stopped working against advice, with no savings or retirement. My father works hourly and has become accustomed to working overtime and having a larger paycheck. When his company cut overtime a few months ago, he started using credit cards for groceries and gas, living outside his means. He maxed out his cards to the point where the minimum payments were most of his check. His mortgage is only $450, but the house is in terrible condition and needs a lot of work. They have no car payments and drive 15-year-old cars that need maintenance. He signed up for a credit card reduction company and pays $400 a month for 4 years, against advice. He turned to drinking a lot, spending money he doesn't have. My stepmother works part-time cleaning for $250 every 2 weeks, refuses to take on more work, and my father has taken a part-time job as well. They are barely getting by, and I just found this out 2 weeks ago. I have tried to help him budget, showed him Dave Ramsey, and provided budget assistance links in the past, but he pretends to listen and gets upset. They have not asked me for money, and my wife and I are considering using our income tax refund of $6 to help them. We are financially stable with a mortgage, 2 cars, a small emergency fund, and some debt. We might use the money to pay their mortgage, help with house repairs, but not give them cash directly to avoid enabling their spending habits. We do not want to be seen as a source of constant financial support. Based on what you've described, I wouldn't give them any money. It seems like they don't want to change their behavior, and your dad may be in denial, just drinking his problems away. Any money you loan them likely won't be paid back. Not the antagonist. Your concerns about giving money directly are valid, given their history of financial mismanagement. It's important to prioritize their immediate needs while protecting your own financial stability. Setting conditions or limits on financial assistance is reasonable and responsible. Not the antagonist. It's not your responsibility to take on your parents' debts at the risk of your financial security. It may be time to cut the purse strings and let them sink or swim on their own. Good luck. My boyfriend wants me to cut off my friends because my ex is friends with them. I met my boyfriend through mutual friends a few months ago, and my best friend had set us up. At the time, I wasn't looking for a relationship at all, as I had gotten out of a long-term relationship within the past year. However, I quickly realized he checked all of my boxes for the perfect partner, and I fell hard for him. Full story on my friends. I moved to a new city 3 years ago while I was dating my ex, and I met some of his friends who were all coupled up. Some of the wives' girlfriends became my close friends, with one girl quickly becoming my best friend. We did almost everything together. I was in her wedding party. We talk every day, and she's been there for me through a lot of hard times. We've had some drama, mostly petty things. Note, I never see these friends with my ex. We started dating a month ago and hung out with my friends as a couple once. But after that, we didn't see much of them, which I thought was due to the honeymoon phase. In the second month, he seemed agitated and angry when I made plans with them or wanted to bring him along. He told me it wouldn't be appropriate to maintain my friendships with them due to our relationship, even though he knew them before. Initially, he felt uncomfortable being around them because of their association with my ex. He then escalated to not wanting me to join group invites without him either. I tried just hanging out with the female friends in the group, but he had an issue with that too, saying they were associated with my past life and relationships. Most recently, when we were in a space with my friends, I was excited to see them and have a good time. However, he was upset by it and expressed his dislike for my best friend and our friendship, calling it toxic and immature. My friends are unaware of why I haven't been around, and I suspect they feel hurt that I've distanced myself. I'm a very social person, and it's causing a lot of anxiety. Whenever I bring up my friends, it leads to a bad fight, and it feels almost impossible to discuss anything related to them without nearly breaking up. I'm considering agreeing with him that these friendships are inappropriate to keep the peace in our relationship. However, I've tried to explain my feelings of depression and isolation, but he dismisses them. These arguments have made me feel a lot of shame and anxiety around situations outside of our relationship because they are always brought up. I'm unsure of what to do because I believe he's someone I could see a future with, but friendships outside of the relationship have always been important to me. It seems like there is no middle ground due to his strong feelings. Is there a compromise, or should I move on before getting deeper into the relationship? This is not a healthy situation at all. You need to listen to your instincts and break up with him before it escalates further. It's not worth sacrificing your friendships for someone who is clearly showing red flags of being controlling and abusive. Trust your gut and get out before it gets worse. Your well-being and happiness should always come first. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.